What is going on, guys? It is your boy Gary G Gaming here, and today I'm driving out the Konigstiger P. Konigstiger P? Tiger 2 P? Whatever the fuck you want to call it. And that's actually one of the first Peeves that I wanted to go over. You see, this tank, to me, is one of the sort of legends in both real life and in War Thunder, because it's just an iconic vehicle. I mean, I feel like the Tiger 1 would be more iconic, however, this thing's just a beast. It's just massive, you know, in size, in capability, just, you know, powerful gun, very thick armor, but it's also decently mobile, and that's one of the things I wanted to get onto in a minute. Like, it's just a presence on the battlefield. You're just so capable when it comes to what you can do, and especially what you can do to the enemy. It's incredible. And one of the peeves I've always had in this tank is, that's what we're going to be going over today, by the way, it's probably read it from the title, is the names of these tanks in War Thunder. You see, in War Thunder we like to sort of go based on what other games have done. For example, if you look at the Panther 2 in War Thunder, it is pretty much exactly the same as the Panther 2 in World of Tanks, except it has the night vision devices on it. Other than that, they're pretty much identical in design. It's using a Schmolton with an 88mm long gun. So, it's understandable where this peeve comes from as well, but the name of the two variants, the two main variants, like the 6.31 and the 6.71, the one that you're looking at right now is called the Konigstiger, or the Tiger 2P, and then the one with the square hexagonal turret is called the Tiger 2H, and that implies that Porsche and Henschel designed the turrets. So what I'm betting most people think is that this turret was designed by Porsche, and the big hexagonal turret with the flat face is designed by Henschel, and it's simply not true. From what I can tell you, is that Porsche and Henschel had nothing to do with the turret design on this vehicle. The only thing Porsche and Henschel ever provided is that, well, Porsche provided the, I think it's called the VK4501 or the VK4502, the prototypes, I can't remember. Yeah, they're in World of Tanks. And, well, Henschel provided the hull that you're looking at right now, but they didn't provide the turret. No, the turrets were provided by Krupp. Yeah, both turrets. So you can't exactly have these things being called, you know, the Tiger 2Ks, because it just wouldn't look right. Now, where I think the confusion comes from is the fact that this turret was, I think, intended for the Porsche prototype, whereas the other turret might have been intended for the Henschel prototype, but then the Porsche prototype never happened or something. I'm not too sure. I haven't got official documentation to back up what I'm saying. However, what I do know is that both turrets were designed by Krupp, therefore they had nothing to do with it, and since it's always going to be a Henschel hull on the Konigstiger, I feel like there should be a different naming scheme. Now, I think the best way to do this would be similar to the MiG-9, where this tank here would simply be the Tiger 2 early, and then the more iconic, you know, H would be the Tiger 2 late, or late turret, or whatever you want to call it, because it's just simply not an effective naming scheme. Now here's the problem, is that a change like that probably would never happen, even though it's historically inaccurate. I mean, you can point to a number of things in the game and, you know, say, but it's just a peeve of mine at the moment. Kind of like how World of Tanks, for all those years, it was called the IS-8, and then they changed it to the T-10 recently, so, yeah, but I just feel like it would be more accurate, and it would, you know, kill the perception of this vehicle, basically. And I've tried making a video like this in the past as well, actually, on the Peeves of the Konigstiger. It was actually the second video I was ever going to make, but I held off on doing it because it just was low. It was just a low quality video, really bad. I mean, this one is too, but I'm not pulling up statistics or fact sheets or anything like that. I'm just going off what I know personally, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me at the source. But what I do know for certain, at least, and what everyone else has told me, is that the turret naming scheme is incorrect. These shouldn't be called the P's, and the hexagonal square face ones or whatever, they shouldn't be called the H's. These are both Krupp turrets with Henschel hulls. So take of that what you will. I think they should be called the late and the early, or whichever way around that is. And another sort of misconception about these vehicles is that they were slow. They're not slow at all. These could top out quite well on road. I think the top speed was like 46, I think, or 36. It was pretty fucking fast for a tank that weighs 68 tons, and I think people get that misconception from the fact that these things had a lot of mechanical breakdowns. You know, the transmission was designed for a vehicle the weight of a Panzer IV, and it was already getting strained on the Tiger and the Panther. So in a tank like this, the transmission's just about to commit suicide, basically. However, in the hands of a good driver who didn't over-rev the transmission, and with good maintenance, which of course is unreliable in Germany's situation at the end of the war, this thing could perform. And, you know, with regular maintenance, I do believe that these vehicles could perform. Now, many people think that these are the precursor to the main battle tank, and, you know, they've got arguments there, because it was decently mobile. It wasn't so slow that other tanks like Shermans would just run circles around it. No, these things were quite nimble. The turret can traverse quite well. The hull, not so much, obviously. But, you know, these things were definitely not slow. They had the firepower, and they definitely had the armour. Many people believe that if you put a more powerful engine in this vehicle, not like the Konigstiger SLA, I'm talking more like the one. Like some people have said, you could put a 1500 horsepower engine in this thing, and it would run like a sort of modern main battle tank. You know, speed of the medium, gun of the heavy tank, armor of the heavy tank, or whatever. The transmission and the suspension would rip itself apart if you ever tried putting a 1500 horsepower engine in this thing. So, whenever someone says that, just, no, that's not happening. However, these things were not slow, just put simply. Just look at the size of the tracks. You know, they're dispersing the weight evenly across the ground. There's going to be none of that extra. The weight's not going to impede on the vehicle, unless you're trying to cross bridges and things like that. But other than those factors, the tank was quite combat effective in the right hands. One thing I can think of is the Battle of Debrecen, which is I was going to do a video on that one as well. It was in Hungary, and essentially there was a unit of King Tigers. I think it was the 404th Heavy Tank Battalion. I think that's definitely wrong. I can't remember which heavy tank battalion it was, but they ended up going up against a Soviet unit, like a fucking. They were basically the tip of the spear, the King Tigers, and they ended up claiming. Well, just imagine a big field of not field, but just imagine a unit of like T-3485s and like IS-2s, and then they're going up against just well-positioned King Tigers. How unfair that would be in the game, and that's basically what happened. They just went through and they slaughtered field guns, SPGs, tanks, whatever, you name it. The King Tigers went in and they just kicked the living shit out of what they were going up against. And that's really what personifies this tank, in my opinion. It's sort of a sledgehammer. You can really put the work in when you want to. Having said that, you can also reach out pretty far. So it's just a very powerful tool. And even though most people would believe that these things are, you know, a waste of production, like the Tiger to a lot of people, and the Panther to me wasn't. It was a marginally. It was actually the Panther was marginally more expensive than a Panzer IV, but the combat the combat capability leap between the two vehicles. A Panzer IV versus a Panther, for a marginal cost increase, like a very small amount, I think it was like 10,000 Reichsmarks or something, I'd take that trade any day. But no, tanks like this, I think this thing costs like nearly 1 million Reichsmarks. It was like 800,000 or 1 million, I can't remember. Very, very expensive. This thing was probably a waste of resources. But, you know, it just goes to show it's a sort of a feat of engineering. Each one is so meticulously put together, and it's just. It's incredible how powerful these vehicles were. So yeah, I think that's all the peeves I have with the King Tiger. I don't think there's any more. I think... is there anything else? I don't think there is at all, honestly. I think that's everything that I've heard people repeat these same like myths and facts, so to speak, about the vehicle, and it's just like... they're not correct. This thing was not some lumbering, slow beast of a tank that couldn't, you know, perform like if it couldn't move. It's not like the mouse. Like even the mouse can technically move. You know, it's not. That'd be a bunker at that point. Like you just can't say that this thing isn't mobile because it definitely was in real life. So that's the purpose of a tank. And yeah, I think I'm done here today, so yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It was pretty short, and the gameplay in the background wasn't my best. Honestly, it's pretty average at best, so pick it apart if you like. So yeah, leave a like if you liked the video, dislike if you absolutely hated it. Comment down below any thoughts, and if you feel like it, make sure to subscribe. Hit the little bell notification icon thingy-majig, and you'll get notifications whenever I upload if you're really that into my videos. And yeah, I hope you have amazing matches in the future. I guess I'll see you next time.